Hey guys, what's up? This is Jeremy from the New Release Wall. In this review, I want to talk about Killers of the Flower Moon. This is a Martin Scorsese film. So we decided to go see this movie in the theater because it had all the hype. It has an all-star cast, of course. It's got Robert De Niro in it. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, it's got a lot of good people in it, and it's Martin Scorsese. So this is one of the times when we were so hyped to see it, we went to the theater. And nowadays a trip to the theater is like a $70, decision. So I wanted to give you that before I drop this. That for me, the movie was like, for our rating system, the movie was just okay. I'm sorry. Like I know that a lot of people get butthurt when I say that it was just okay and that I kind of didn't like it. I guess there's no other way to put it. It's not like I thought the movie was like terrible, like a terrible movie. It was boring and aggravating to me. That's what it was. It was really good for, again, giving you a vibe of the mentality of people back in that time period. It makes you aware of the shystiness that was going on around American Indians. Around, you know what I mean? It did that really well. And even what I did like about it was it did show you that even the people that were assholes to the Indians, they were so close that they like knew some of their language, and they would use some words with, you know what I mean, in act like they were friends. You know what I mean? You know how even in America we know everybody knows a little bit of Spanish. And if you were in like a kind of a Spanish community, I guess you could use it in a casual way, or to make it seem like you were a friend. This movie did really well to show sort of the intimate relationship between a lot of the, I guess, white people and the Indians, because it was like racism, but not the kind of racism which makes you like disgusted by the because there's some kind of racism. They're like, I'm disgusted, I hate that group of people. I just hate them. Like, if I find out that you're part of that group of people, I hate you. You disgust me. I don't want to have nothing to do with you. In this case, it was like, and I know there was periods of between white people and Indians that were like that, but in this case, they were like getting married to Indians. And I know that some people are like, well, that was for money, but yeah, but no, other groups of, white guys would marry Indians just because, they were pretty. And they weren't racist, so racist that they were just like, I'm not going to marry no Indian. You know what I mean? They were like they would still marry, and the Indians would allow the marriages. And, which, leaves me in as I was watching the movie, I'm like, you're screwing these Indians, but then you're acting like you're their friends, and as far as I can tell, you grow up around them. Like, they're part of the community around here, and your only reason, your only justification is they're Indians. Because they'll make comments like, what I mean, I'm not going to kill a guy, but then you find out it's an Indian, and he's like, oh, well, that's a different story. I can kill Indians. You know what I mean? This movie gives you that sense, that the vibe of that. You know what I mean? Which, that's what I liked about the movie. It gives you that look that it really felt like you were in that time period. I mean, it was Leonardo DiCaprio's, of course, everybody's acting was fantastic. It's not, the acting wasn't the problem. And the problem really isn't even the problem. The problem's kind of me personally. I just didn't like, even when a story, I mean, it was done really well. It was shot very well. Acting was awesome. It's a true story, so you don't get anything cliche. But the story itself just went on, and the spoiler alert, you keep waiting for like the Indians to wake up, or the guy's wife to wake up and be like, and get revenge. I kept waiting for some revenge. You know what I mean? I was like, this is messed up. Like, she's got to get him back. And you know what I mean? And she don't. Ever. So you keep waiting. And then sometimes the guys that were doing the killing weren't even like, they paid them with like $5 in a pack of cigarettes, and these guys were like some Hoosiers, and they were, spitting chew Hoosiers. They're like, okay, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Making casual decisions about killing people. And so the whole time it was like, they didn't. And again, this is because it's a true story, and this is like true stories do this, right? Where they don't allow you to like draw a hard line between good and evil. Sometimes I was like confused about who was doing what. I mean, in the end, of course, the evil was the white guys that were horribly killing the Indians just so they can inherit. Like, so the line of inheriting the money, they just killed everyone in line, to where the Robert De Niro's character would be finally the guy who ended up with the money. And in stories like this, and I know this happens in real life, but like, you're so old, dude. Why do you even care at this point? What are you going to do with the money? You're old. You're about to die. What are you going to like buy a bigger tombstone pretty soon? I mean, like, damn, man. It's just, and the way it starts is the government, I suppose, decides that they're going to give this land to this particular group of Indians. And then lo and behold, boom, there's oil on this land, which makes them all millionaires. You know what I mean? And instead of just taking the oil, the guys that were around there, the white men that were around, like sort of around that area at the time doing normal jobs, they would kind of like secretly resent the Indians. They're like, yeah, you guys got that money and I have to work all day. You guys don't have to work at all. And like, it was that classic, you got the money and I don't got none, so I'm going to charge you extra for doing this, and then resent you on the top of it. And on top of it, they probably feel like they're better than them because those are Indians, and, they were the white people. So they, you know what I mean? There was that whole thing where they, again, feel like they're like better than them on a fundamental level. Anyway, so the point is, the movie went on and on, and one person died after another. And it was like the Indians couldn't do anything about it, and nobody in the white circle of people really seemed that motivated to do anything about it. They were just like, Indians, that who cares? You know what I mean? And that's what makes it such an effed up true story. The length of the story and the dynamic between the guy and the wife is one of the again, it's because he was still kind of loved his wife in a weird way. So he was like kind of loving his wife, but at the same time poisoning her because he can't say no to his uncle. I don't know, but like, it would actually make me feel better if I found out that he didn't really love his wife at all. But Leonardo DiCaprio's acting is so good. He had me, believing he still cared for her on some level, even though he had to have known what was going on. Like, what do you call it? He was like giving her these shots that were tearing her up, and like if he kept on doing it, she was gonna die for sure. He's like he's slow poisoning his wife, but he somehow cares about her. And because of that, it just had me going, like, there was a part of me that was hoping that he was going to like sort of see the light and turn on his uncle, but he never did. I kept waiting for that to happen. I kept waiting for him to like suddenly have an epiphany and be like, this is effed up, man. What am I doing here? I love my wife. Screw my uncle. But he really didn't. And even when he like finally at the end, when he like testified against him, it just seemed like he was just trying to get himself off. You know what I mean? It wasn't like because he had seen the light. So I just kept waiting for his wife to get revenge or him to have a change of heart. And, but in 3 hours, 3+ hours, that didn't happen. And even though I watched it and thought, this is effed up what you're doing to these Indians, and it's effed up, the poor Indians seem to be kind of like, I don't know, they seem kind of slow. Like, yeah, we kind of know that some area is going on, but what are we going to do about it? You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, dude, start scalping some people, man. Go back to being Indian. So I left it. Like, even my kid was like all up for this. He was like, he couldn't wait to see this in the theater. And when he came out of the theater, he was like, I'm sorry, I've never been so disappointed in a movie ever. But then, of course, when we tell people, like, this movie, I just didn't like it, people get upset about it. They're just like, well, how can you not like it? It's Martin Scorsese. The acting was great. The actors are great. Blah, blah, blah. Or you just, like, I had one guy tell me that, like, I'm a contrarian. I'm just a contrarian. I'm like, dude, I don't spend $70 going to the theater to be a contrarian. I wanted to love it. I just didn't. There's certain movies that you need to like before you're gonna, like, you should take this one. Like, if you liked There Will Be Blood, then you'll probably like this one. But if you didn't like There Will Be Blood, you've seen it, and you're like, There Will Be boring, then take my advice, you might want to skip this one, you know what I mean? Or watch it in pieces. Like when you're at lunch, do an hour a day until, you know what I mean? Like it's a series. That's my rating. If you have different idea or you think I'm retarded, let me know in the comments. Or stop by the new release wall, make a critic account, and you know what I mean? Give us your opinion. Give your review. The more reviews we got, the more we can get a vibe of, what's for them and what's not for them. That's the whole point of the new release wall. We're rating critics here. You know what I mean? And not everybody's going to agree with me. Most time, people don't agree with me. So I might not be the best critic to follow, but like there could be others that you always agree with. And if that person's, somebody you always agree with, we set it up to where that's the person that you'll see first. And then, then you can get an idea if you like a movie based on their review, because you're like, well, they always agree with me and they say this movie's good, so it's probably going to be good. Like and subscribe, stop off at the new release wall, give us your opinion, and we'll see you in the next review.